Hey guys, so in this video, we're gonna do a deep dive on the second REIT that we are having in the Philippines, the DDMP REIT or the DD-Meridian Park REIT. So if you know, I've made a video about this last year, but since the IPO is very, very close, it's time that we do a deep dive on this. So for this video, I'm structuring it talking about the leadership, who owns it, where what's the direction, the buildings that are part of the REIT, important numbers that you would need to know, and important dates that are heavily included in this. But before I begin, as what I always say, if you're new to this, please do note that I may be talking about DD Meridian Park REIT, but this is never an indication, or this is not me telling you to buy the stock altogether or to subscribe to the IPO. Never ever buy, sell, hold, avoid the stock just because I talk about it in YouTube or you hear it from people talking about it in the internet, in TV, and YouTube, or from a friend. It has to be you who needs to make the decision whether you should buy it or not, because it's your money, it's your responsibility, and it has to be you to take care of your money, because no one will take care of your money more than you. So please, right after this, we're gonna do a series of videos of DD Meridian Park, but don't just take what you see here, do your own due diligence. But anyways, um, this video, by the way, would not explain REITs in detail, but I have a playlist already on REITs. We have around 16 or 18 videos about REITs. I'll put them in the description below. It would talk about what are REITs, the basics of REITs, the risk of REITs, why I love REITs. Then we talked about the first REIT in the Philippines, Ayala Land REIT. Then our latest video on it was, I had a video with the CEO of a REIT, which was quite insightful, no? And just to share this for those who are watching my videos for the first time, I'm quite biased about REITs because I have been investing in REITs offshore in Singapore for the past, I think, 6 7 years already, and it's been amazing for me. And at this stage, no, I'm not as young as what where I was before. I like the predictability of dividends. I love cash flow. I'm at a stage where it's so important for me, where I get the predictability of what I can get via dividends. So if you are like me, that you want not just the stock market as an asset class, you don't want just the stock market to give you capital appreciation, but you want the passive cash flow returns that dividends can offer, then I really believe REITs is a good way for you to enter into it. But that's something that works for me. That's something that fits me. And that's something that works for my stage in life right now. It does not mean that you are also there, but that's why it's so important that you do your own research to find out if it will work for you. And lastly, before I continue to the meat of the content, what I like about REITs is it gives you a proxy that you can earn off the real estate market without actually buying a property. And the liquidity of it, guys, I shared this during the video with the interview with a REIT CEO, Carol Mills, is that at the time of the pandemic, I had a lot of friends who had condos who wanted to get out, but they could not sell it. When you have REITs, the biggest advantage of that is it's just like a stock that you can sell it uh, any time of the day as long as the market is open. But again, guys, link is in the description below. Just watch our playlist there. I'm sure you'll get a lot of info from that 18 videos worth of information that will help you get more and more and more details on what REITs are. Anyways, so the leadership, I'm sure everyone knows about this since it's called the Meridian Park REIT. It's Double Dragon, and Double Dragon is basically in Japsia. And in my opinion, if you look at also what he has done in his projects and how his stocks have done, I think there's some sort of excitement when it's in Japsia that people would always. I've heard a lot of people say similar to Elon Musk. There's a lot of Tesla. There's a lot of electric vehicles that could be bought. There's a lot of companies that you could buy stocks of, but there's only one Elon Musk. Similar to when they did the Mary Mart IPO last year, there's a lot of supermarkets, there's a lot of convenience stores, there's a lot of Mercury drug type of establishments, but there's only one in Japsia. So I think part of whatever premium, part of whatever price that you are paying for, that you are investing in for DD Meridian Park REIT, also includes the in-Jap premium, that thinking that it's in-Jap, there's a possibility that his ingenuity, his entrepreneurial wisdom will help steer the business or the company forward. And the synergy, no, of Double Dragon, which is the main stock, and then the buildings, which will now be DD Park Meridian REIT. Please remember that DDMP is part of Double Dragon, and that's when they start selling shares. That's when the public will get ownership of it. Anyways, the buildings that will be sold, just to give you a comparison also before I continue, the first REIT that we have, a REIT, they sold three buildings, which are all in Makati. So you had one close to EDSA, then the two others at the heart of the central business district of Makati itself. Then they started to diversify with Cebu, then with Ortigas, then going to a land in Laguna, which was owned by IMI, or which is being rented by IMI. For this one, it's interesting because all of the buildings are situated in just one place. Let me give you some details. So part of that, they are selling, or at least part of the IPO that will be included for DDMP will be 6 office towers. So I'll show you a picture later. Then the retail spaces in DD-Meridian Park. So I've been there just twice or thrice I think, and you will see Mary Mart also there, and then you will see a lot of the Jollibee related businesses, because you all know that in Japsia, Mang Inasal, Jollibee, and then the relationship that they have together, and Double Dragon also highly connected to Tony Tan Katyong. So that's the synergy that they have in that particular place. So what's interesting also, this particular area, so just to give you a picture of it. So the lower portion here, there's a lot of retail spaces here, and that's what I've mentioned. There's a large coffee bean there. There's Jollibee, Chowking, and all of the Jollibee related outlets there, and Mary Mart is there. So obviously, the tenants for the building, at the very least, of the commercial and retail space, will be part of their brand altogether, or the synergy between the relationship that DD has with Jollibee. Then in the upper floors, there's a lot of commercial spaces, and I'll give you a mix later on of who are the tenants. But so you will be earning off the rental of buildings, or the office spaces from the higher floors. Then the rental rates of their company itself, or their sister companies, or the fusion between them and Jollibee for the retail establishments. And again, that's what I've mentioned, Mary Mart, since there's Mary Mart in DD Meridian Park. So obviously, Mary Mart will be renting off DDMP. And what's interesting, similar to the Ayala REIT, no, hindi nila papabayaan yung sarili nilang mga sister companies also. And the fact that Mary Mart is renting off the building, the traffic should be there, because they will make sure also, alam mo yun, they'll make sure Mary Mart will be healthy in terms of earnings. And in the same way, ganun din, Jollibee attracts people and the other brands that are highly connected to Jollibee. Anyways, so for those who are not from Metro Manila, this is where DD-Meridian Park is. So part of the REIT Law, and I've mentioned this in a lot of the videos previously, is that part of the REIT Law is it has to be in a place where there's high traffic. It has to be in a place where it's easy and accessible for people. And if it's a commercial space, it's even better. Than an office space, it's even better. So this one, it's very it's situated well. Primarily, it's in EDSA, no? So if you are coming from Quezon City, or if you have not even been to this area, EDSA going straight to Manila Bay, that's when you hit Double Dragon Meridian Park Plaza, or Meridian Park. It's very close to Mall of Asia, and then you will see a lot of adjacent to DMW, adjacent to, or at DMW at the side, but that area. So imagine the Bay Area, right before you hit Mall of Asia. That's where you will see the DD-Meridian Park. Anyways, the gross leasable area is 172,252 square meters. I'm gonna do a side-by-side comparison between a REIT and DD Meridian Park REIT, between the gross leasable area at the time a REIT did the IPO and where a REIT is now. Please remember, for a REIT, 3 buildings, then they added Cebu, then they added the Ayala 30th, then they added the space for where IMI is renting. So they've continually expanded. But let's do a side-by-side comparison later on. Anyways, what's interesting also is this. I mentioned this in the A REIT IPO series that it's very important for us as investors to know the occupancy rate, because as REITs are a hybrid for real estate, we earn based on the rental income that we would get generally from their tenants, and it's very important that there's predictability in the rental, and not just that, that the occupancy rate is decently high. If we can get something close to 100%, that's amazing. But not just that, that they are locked in for a long period of time, because it gives you somehow, no, some way that the ease that, hey, there's a lot of people renting, there's a lot of people renting locked in for a long time, then most likely my income here will be predictable, because part of the rental income, 90+% of it, will be given back as form of dividends. But for the next video, guys, allow me to give you an update, because this is from disclosed information given from June 2020. So hopefully we get something for the third quarter at the very least, so you have more information. Because just to give you context also, please do note that the height of the lockdowns were at the second quarter of the year, and that was the worst part of the Philippine economy. Anyways, though, tenant mix, unbeknownst to many people, always would see, no, that DD-Meridian Park is basically Pogos, because the entire Bay Area has been branded as an area for Pogos. But according to their disclosure, it's not just Pogos, but it's a mix between Pogos and BPOs. But I'll try to do another video segmenting it, ilan percent yung kinocontribute ng Pogo, and let me know if you're interested about that. I just want to know. Comment if you're interested about that. Comment if you're learning. But Pogos, I'll try to see how much does Pogos contribute, and how much does BPOs also contribute as well. But what I do know in their office spaces, it's not just BPOs and Pogos, because I know there are some branches of insurance companies that are also there. So, but I guess it's heavily BPO and Pogo. I want to note this also, that I mentioned it's not just how fully occupied they are, but how predictable their leases are, how locked in their leases are, because it gives you predictability. In terms of that, from what's disclosed now, at least there's a committed lease of at least 5 years. So the concern was last year for AREIT. No, I got hundreds of questions from all of you asking, because there's a pandemic, what's gonna happen to the lease? What's gonna happen to the tenants? What's gonna happen? They might not earn money off of it. But based on what we have right now, the data that we have, AREIT, long committed lease, uh, then fully occupied. DDMP, long committed lease, also fully occupied as well. Especially at the time where this leases end, the economy would have recovered already. And if you've watched the videos that I had with David Lee Chu, it's also part of the the REITs playlist. He would mention that when there are economic uncertainties, BPOs normally, or the Philippines slash BPO industry, normally would benefit from it, kasi nagtitipid yung mga company. So if they're targeting also BPOs, then there's a semblance that, hey, there would be more and more demand, at least for that particular building, kung meron man umalis. And I think, no, since this is one of the first few REITs that we have, similar to the time I talked to Ayala REIT CEO, A REIT CEO Carol Mills, she mentioned that they would want to highlight the prime properties first. You would want to put the properties that hindi ka mapapahiya. You would want to also put your best foot forward. So ganun din siguro, I think, is what Ayala and DD is doing. They're putting in their best properties, so that when people see that it's actually good, it creates a stronger sense that REITs is a good asset class for people to deploy capital into. Anyways, comment below if you're learning. Comment if this is something that's helping you. We are now at the 14-minute mark. Now, important numbers for you to know are this. So there will be 5.9 billion common shares to be sold, and similar to a lot of the stocks that we've had, if there's a larger demand, there's also an over allotment option, and the over allotment option is 594 million, which will be deployed should this be used up already. Now, breakdown of all of this is 70% foreigners, 30% locals, and please do note this. That's why the game always still in the Philippines. It's still foreigners, eh. And no matter what, how much we talk about this, locals don't really have a large influence on stocks that's heavily foreign denominated. And in my opinion, no, foreigners will gobble up opportunities like this for a couple of reasons. Number one, rates around the world are very, very low. If for those who are for those watching this like me that are invested in other markets, if you look at the dividend yields of US stocks, you won't get a lot of yields that are higher. Globe is higher, PLDT is higher, A-REIT is higher. And that's why this is enticing a lot of foreigners also to start investing into this. And this gives sense to the large breakdown of how many foreigners are there. 70% foreigners, 30% locals. So just to show you also, similar to the normal style of what I've seen InJap would do for his IPOs, the offer price would always be lower. If you followed Double Dragon, 2 pesos. If you followed Merrimart, 1 peso. This one is close to that, 2.25 pesos. This is the maximum offer price, by the way. I'll give you an update, maybe close to the IPO date when they would disclose already the price, the final price that would be given out, and then that's maybe when I could give you also ranges of what their dividend yield would possibly be. But this is similar, no? Same style, small amount of shares, a small IPO price, larger amount of shares given in the market. Please remember, a REIT was way above the 25 peso mark. So it, from a price standpoint and a psychological standpoint, people tend to favor the ones that are priced lower. But just to note also, no, that the money that will be raised for this, I'll show you later, is massively bigger than the value and the money raised for Merrimart. So you can't really compare them, and you can't. It's not an apples to apples comparison. Anyways, so the capital raised here, at least for the IPO and for those watching this for the first time, um, companies go into an IPO to raise money, and the larger the money that they could raise, the better for them because they have a larger amount that they could use for the future, for whatever projects that they would have. So for DDMP or DD Meridian Park, they're raising 14.7 billion based on the 2.25 price. If the price goes lower, then they would raise a smaller amount. Let's continue. This would put the market cap of DDMP to 40.11 billion pesos, and comparing it to the current price of a REIT. This is as of this recording. Please do note market cap is stock price multiplied by the outstanding shares. So a REIT stock price also has gone up. It's higher than the IPO price, hence this market cap. So a REIT market cap 30.8 billion. DDMP market cap is 40.11, meaning they're selling more shares at that particular price. So magbabago pa yan if the stock price changes or it becomes lower. When they if should it change and become lower than 2.25. Public ownership would be 36.67, which is the common narrative here. You won't see a lot of listed companies sell a large part of ownership to the public. It's not like what we see in the States. No, I think that's the difference for Philippine companies, that the owners, or at least the founders, or the ones that are in control, still want to have control of their businesses. So there, we talked about some of the important numbers. I want to go and segment to important dates for this. Please do note that the offer period for this, meaning this is the time that it will be offered to the public, that you could subscribe to whoever brokers you have so that you get to buy them, will be February 10 to 17, 2021. So it's now, the time of recording of this is January 13, 2021. So yeah, it will be made available in a month. So make sure that if you intend to get to subscribe, make sure to log into your browser, contact your broker close to this dates already so that you can get a reserve allocation for it. So the listing date when it gets into the market, you can trade it already, is February 26, 2021. Now, please do note that no one has a crystal ball on how it will go during the IPO date. We've seen for A-REIT at the least, no, it went lower, but we have seen also certain IPOs that have gone up. For Merrimart, in job stock, but what please remember, it's not a REIT. It's not an apples to apples comparison. It was a smaller REIT. It went up naman, but no one can predict how it will go. on a second, per hour, per day basis. That's why it's so important that if you buy this, you have a battle plan already. Are you in it just for the intraday movements during the IPO? Are you in it because you like the dividends that you will get from it? Are you in it because it will be a proxy for you for real estate? So I always say this, it's not about the company that you're buying, but the plan that you have placed to buy, to hold, to sell, or to avoid this, because that's something that will give you conviction, and that's something that's sustainable and will make you a better investor, not just now, but something repeatedly in the future. So the proceeds of the IPO will basically go to central hub industrial centers, and similar to what AREIT did, that once they got the IPO, they bought the Cebu Teleperformance Building, if I remember properly. The proceeds of this IPO also, they will plan to add two more buildings. I think it's the east and west building of DD-Meridian, or at least DD Park, or that particular, and it will, same thing for AREIT, that the more buildings that are income earning that they get and put add to the fold, it will get a larger dividend yield for investors. So there. This dividend. So I just saw this in the website. I was planning to make the exact video for the dividend yield on the next set of videos, but I saw this on their website, and these were the dividends that they gave out. But I tried to compute it, no, based on the 2.25 IPO price. Given that they gave two dividends out for 2020, it seems relatively low. It's below 2%. So I think this may be adjusted. I have to look. I'll add that when we talk about their income, no. But everything that I'm talking about here, guys, it's all disclosed information. You can get it PSE Edge, the DDMP website, or you can also contact your brokers as well, so you get information. And that's what's nice about our era right now in 2021. There's so much information available that you don't have to listen to rumors. You don't have to listen to hype. You don't have to speculate. You can just research it on your own and then make an informed decision based on it. And that's what I do. I never listen to what people tell me. I just follow my own plan. I just follow my own strategy, and I just use my own principles. Has it has it been a perfect game? Hindi. When you invest in the markets, it's never about playing a perfect game, but it's just about being profitable, and you live and die with your mistakes. I've had my share of mistakes. I've made a lot of losses also in the market, but from those losses, it allowed me to figure out who am I as a person. So my suggestion after this, even if I come up with more videos about DDMP, please research. So there. Put your comments down below so that I can include that in the next videos. And two ways to get in touch with me: Instagram at Marvin Germo. I try to reply to at least 25 people, no, in via Instagram. Kasi dati sabi ko, hindi na ako nakaka-reply sa Facebook, punta na kayo sa Instagram. Then I've been getting hundreds of messages now in Instagram that hindi ko na rin nare-replyan. So pasensya na dun sa mga hindi ko nare-replyan. But I try to reply 20 to 25 messages. Kung di ako nagre-reply, resend it again, or for those na alam yung technique, comment kayo dun sa pictures na nag-DM kayo, tapos makiklik ko yung name nyo, then I'll get to see your message. That's the hack. Or you can message me via Patreon. It's a very, very small group, so for sure nare-replyan ko lahat ng tao dun. But this is what I intend to talk about in the next set of videos: dividend yield, update on their business and more information about it, valuations, risk, and reward as well. For those asking about technical analysis, there are links in the description below, but we're having a very, very small group for Metro Manila by the end of January. I think wala na nga yata slot or 1 or 2 slots na lang. But for those who are interested about it, links are in the description below for those who want to join it. And everything that you want to know more about me, they're all in the description, including how you can invest in US markets, playlists that I have for fundamentals, technicals, the books that I have, and everything else in between. So there, I hope you guys got a lot from this. We are now at the 24-minute mark. I do hope that this is something that's insightful. I do hope that this is something that gives value to you. But at the end of the day, I really do hope that if after doing all of the research and then you think that this is an investment for you, that you actually start. Because at the end of the day, investing is the game. Better that you put in your money into something like this that gives you the potential to earn than just buy stuff that you don't need. And I've been investing in the markets for more than a decade, and during that journey of investing, I've met a lot of people that I've shared how you can invest, and the common narrative that they would normally say is, sana pala nag-invest ako na mas maaga. And If there's one thing I do know, your greatest weapon in all of this is time. Don't let time slip away that you are not investing. Put it in the ground, let it work hard for you, because at the end of the day, investing right is never get rich quick. Investing right is not about the shortcut way to get rich. Investing right is building the experience, learning the process, and doing it properly. And that's when you get money, wealth that will last forever. You want wealth that will outlast you, and you want wealth that pwede nyo pang ipamana sa generation after you, and you become a blessing also to the people around you today. So that's it for now. I hope you guys got a lot from this, and I hope that this is something that's insightful. Stay tuned for 8 p.m. last video series of our podcast with Carlo Ople, Jason Law, and Chauncey. They're gonna talk about how to make money, where to invest 15 million pesos, then 10 p.m. tonight, stocks by request. So that's it for now. Marvin Gurmo, I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. Comment, I stayed till the end if you stayed up until the end. See you all again soon, guys, and God bless you all.